What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV, back once again with another video. It's that time of year again. We're going to play Liverpool, so I've got Chris from the Redmen TV, as per usual, previewing the game with me. How you doing, mate? How you been?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm not too bad. Like we're in tier 3, so it's a bit boring. But thankfully, footy's coming thick and fast at the moment, isn't it? But yeah, I've been good, mate.
You keeping busy?
No, not really.
No,
I mean,
not
just
really.
work. Just work.
Are you still cooking? Because I remember the cooking show that you used to put on.
No, not at the moment. I mean, I am still cooking. I'm just not recording it. It's a lot of fucking work when you're doing it yourself. I did it at the start of lockdown and stuff. I enjoy it. I've always enjoyed cooking, but no, I'm not doing it on YouTube anymore. I don't have the time. I've been doing Twitch. A 37-year-old Twitcher now. So,
do you know what? I'm thinking about doing the same thing. I've got a little Nintendo over there, and I'm thinking about doing a retro. I've got like fucking I've got all the NES games and the Mega Drive games and everything else. So I might do a Twitch. Yeah, and then
I'll watch that. I'll raid you. You don't even know what that means, do you? But I'm gonna.
No, I ain't got a clue what that means, but it sounds good anyway. I'll raid you too.
Yes, please do.
I don't know what that means. People, I was watching a friend of mine doing it the other day. He was talking about bits and things like that. I don't know what the fuck that means either.
It's like money, bits and money, basically. That people.
Oh, really? Really? Okay, that sounds good. That sounds decent. Anyway, let's get right into the game, mate. Listen, it's quite well publicised, the state that Liverpool are in a minute. I normally ask you what state they're in. Reeling a little bit from a terrible injury to Van Dijk. How are you squaring up after that?
Well, we've had 2 games since obviously the end of the derby, and we've won both of them, keeping a clean sheet, and one away at Ajax, which is pretty damn good. And we've seen the best and the worst of Fabinho. Obviously, Joe Matip's seems like he's always injured. Good centre-back on his day, but is never available often enough. And so Fabinho's been stepping in a centre-half, as I'm sure everybody will be aware now. Against Ajax, he was absolutely superb. Not so good against Sheffield United at the weekend. Obviously gives the penalty away. If you can actually believe that was a penalty. I don't know. I don't anyway, but then I'm a Liverpool fan and I look through red-tinted glasses. But you know what? I think this season's just a bit mad for me, and there just seems to be so many results that just go the opposite way to how you think. I mean, it's just mental, and no team seems to be out of a game of football at any point. West Ham and Spurs, probably a great example of that, aren't they? 3-0 down and then coming back to 3-0. But the fans is... No fans in the stadium is massively affecting the Premier League, and I don't think it's for the better, to be honest. I think it's just got a bit mad. But you know what? Teams are dropping points, and maybe that makes for a more competitive league. But the product that we're seeing, I don't think is as good as what we were seeing when fans were in the stadiums, Nicky.
Well, listen, I've always said this, mate. The Premier League thrives on fans. It's made on fans. That's why we watch it week in, week out. And as you say, fans influence results. And at the minute, as you look at it, you're getting Everton getting beat by Leicester. We're beating Leicester. Arsenal are beating Everton. And it's just crazy at the minute. Everton are sitting top. I mean, the other week, it looked like 1971 at the top of the league there. Everton and fucking Villa and Leicester. And yes, it's crazy.
Villa smashing us 7-2. I mean, it was just insane. We were live streaming it, weren't we? And it was like, oh my days. That point with about 15 minutes to go, where you're like, should we just turn this off? Because this is just horrible. Because now we've got thousands of fans of other football clubs coming to just take the mick out of us. And in the end, we just decided to stick it and stick through it and take our lumps, because we realised, we were saying this on the stream itself, like we've given out for so long now. It's a few years ago when we started this, we were crap. And I say crap, we were, 8th was probably the worst that we finished. So we weren't truly crap or anything, but it felt like we were. And then we've managed to get Jurgen Klopp in and go to win the European Cup and the Premier League. And we've sat there and sort of lorded it over other fans as Liverpool fans. So I think, we deserve to sit there and take our lumps for a bit, to be honest with you. I think we might do that a little bit more.
I was in one of your Twitch streams the other day, and so something got said about something about when you lose games, and I was like, you've only won like 97% of them over the last 2 years, so I don't think you've got much to whinge about, really, have you? But listen, this is going to be, I mean, you're champions, deservedly so. Run away with it last year. Lockdown looked like it might put a stop to that, but the world came to its senses, and I think it would have only been fair. How are you finding it? Is it Is it more difficult as champions going into a season, knowing that you've got that sort of what's the word, that hoodoo off your back, and everyone's sort of gunning for you now, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest, because football's just been so different. I haven't really thought about us being the champions and teams coming at us and stuff like that, because, when Man City were champions, it always felt like teams would just sort of sit there and roll over against Man City. And against us, they've just seemed to go at us, because I think that, to be honest, I think that's the best way to try and get a result out of Liverpool, especially at the moment with Van Dijk being injured. I think teams that are going to come, and Leeds probably did that first game of the season, just decided to roll the dice and try and score a few goals. Our defence doesn't look anywhere near as good with Van Dijk or without Van Dijk as it did last season. I wonder whether the restart last season has kind of affected that more than anything, because we'd won something like 26 of 27 games in the Premier League, hadn't we, at one point, and teams were beaten before they'd even played us, and then post restart, before we'd wrap the league up, we weren't great, and I don't know whether that sort of air of invincibility left then. And now teams are just starting to think, well, let's just fucking have a go, because we could sit there and play for a draw and they'll beat us, or we can go for 3 points. So we may as well just go for 3 points. And it feels like that's what teams are doing now. And they're not just sitting back and we're not seeing the low block sides. We're seeing teams who are, they're playing low block against us, but they're also trying to get a ball in behind, because I think our weakness this season certainly has been, that space that Trent Alexander-Arnold vacates alongside normally Joe Gomez, but it has been Fabinho, and they're getting a lot of joy in those areas of the field, running the channels and cutting inside and having a dig. And obviously losing Alisson to an injury, a shoulder injury, didn't help things, because we had Adrian in goal. It doesn't really suit our style of play, although a decent shot stopper. Not good with the ball at his feet, doesn't cover that space in behind the high line very well. So I just think that it's probably a load of things. And, and you're probably right. I've just not considered it. It's that teams are going for us because we're the champions. And again, I'd not really noticed because of the no fans thing, but the no fans thing just, it's like you can't tell how important a game of footy is for me. Like, you could be watching the Champions League final, or you could be watching 10th play 9th in the league. Without fans there to tell you how important it is, it's really hard to get up for a game, I think, anyway, watching them.
I definitely think you're right. It's the thing is, it's so close, but it's so far, isn't it? I feel a million miles away from football at the moment. I feel like, as you said, I feel like a Twitch streamer now. I'm normally there on the roads and, doing the hard miles up north and fucking whinging about something on the way back, and all of that sort of stuff. I've been sitting in my house now for 7 months. I feel like an internet broadcaster, which it actually, I think it affects not just football teams and players. I think it affects fans and the way they support their team as well. But listen, I don't know how long this is going to last. I'll be perfectly honest, I don't think we're going to go back this season, and I don't think we might not go back next season. So we have to sort of strike a balance up. Well, it's looking. I've got a wedding coming up in October, and we're worrying about that. So looking next October. Yeah.
4 days, mate.
no, next October. Yeah. So we're worrying about that. It's just, I don't know. It's just. It's a crazy situation at the minute. But apart from the defence, what sort of Liverpool are we bumping into this week?
Well, we played 4-2-3-1 in our last game against Sheffield United, and Klopp surprised us. Now, we'd seen 4-2-3-1 a couple of times in pre-season, but against Sheffield United, he managed to get Diogo Jota in. Diogo Jota, Firmino, Salah and Mane all on the pitch. Played with Henderson and Wijnaldum in the two-man midfield, Firmino in the 10. And, we're recording this ahead of the Champions League game against Midtjylland. Now, the rumours are that we're going to play 4-2-3-1 in this game as well tonight. And so, if that's the case, I imagine you might come up against the Liverpool side playing 4-2-3-1, and you might come up against Jota, Firmino, Salah and Mane, which would be, again, not something that we've seen loads of, but I think it's probably a reflection of how Klopp sees the defence at the moment, in that, you might be able to get 2 shielding players in there. Obviously, Fabinho can do, as a defensive midfielder, is probably one of the best defensive midfielders in the world, but we're replacing him with 2, and we're saying, all right, we're going to push an extra player further forwards and see if we can get goals that way. Now, we did all right in the 4-3-1. You could tell we weren't anywhere near as fluid as in the 4-3-3, but defensively we didn't let as many opportunities, I suppose, against Sheffield United than we had done in previous games. So yeah, it could be an interesting one if Liverpool play the 4-2-3-1 and we flood your box with those 4 players.
Are you confident?
Always, mate, because all right, yeah, we got tonked by Aston Villa. We drew against Everton, although I think we got a good goal chalked offside for no reason there. And had that goal been given, we'd be top of the league now, mate, on our own. Whereas, everyone's talking about us like we've had the worst start ever. We're doing top as it stands. All right, Villa have got a game in hand on us, but we're ahead of who you would imagine will be our rivals come the end of the season. We're ahead of City, we're ahead of Arsenal, we're ahead of Chelsea, we're ahead of Tottenham. We're ahead of Man United. So I am confident. I'm not as confident as I would be with Virgil van Dijk in the side, obviously, but we just very, very rarely lose games at home, do we? It was April 2017, I think it was, when we last lost the league game at Anfield. So how can you not be confident in the side that very rarely loses games of footy, I suppose, even if you are in not the best form that you've ever been in, like?
You touched on something there that I wanted. We're going to go to the Patreon. We're going to have a longer form discussion. But you touched on something there about. I mean, I texted you after the Everton game. We sat down. I sat there and watched it. And as I said, I sat there. I had the image on my phone, and I sat there looking at things, and I was like, looking at it, and I'm thinking, I must be missing something here because I just can't see it. VAR, which we keep on coming back to it. Like a lot of people, Chris, would say, sort of, you had a if you was going to put a tally, you had a better tally last year than 4 over against. Obviously, you felt it a little bit this year, massively, which has cost you a result. I mean, two massive decisions in the Everton game alone, and that was the Pickford tackle and the goal. Have your views changed? Have you always thought it was shite? Have your views changed on it? Seeing as you're back on the back end of things that cost you game?
When it was brought in, I'm a massive American footy fan, so I see how stuff's reused there. And I wouldn't say it was perfect in American football, far from it, but I actually thought, they might get the right decisions. Now, I still think that VAR can get you the right decisions, but it's the application of the technology that's wrong. And probably some of the rules, as they've already had to change the handball rule because it was fucked around with by VAR. I just think there's so much that they need to do. And I think they're just, for me personally, I put a tweet out a couple of weeks ago and said that, look, the best part of being a football fan is when your team scores a goal. And that, for me, is by far and away the most you will feel watching football, that emotion. And they are sucking the life out of the best part of being a football fan. And that's baffling. You're now making a worse product for fans, whether you watch it on television or whether you watch it in the ground. There is nothing that comes close to watching your team score a goal. Absolutely. And feeling that. And now they're taking the best part and they're making you question it. And that's shit. And
it's not only that, there is so much wrong with the game today. And as I said before, we are going to go over on Patreon in a minute and have a longer form discussion about this because we're losing the game in my eyes anyway. And I thought that this may be a chance for us to reclaim it with all of this sort of COVID stuff, but we'll see anyway. But if you're a patron, go over and join us over there. That'll be up tomorrow morning. Chris, finally, predictors. Are you worried about West Ham at all?
I wasn't. Yeah, because obviously you see the results against Tottenham, you see the results against City, you see the performance against Arsenal, and you think, yeah, they're doing all right. They're dogging results out, they're working hard. And, I spoke to you before and we did a preview over on Redmen and stuff, and you said Antonio's out. He's the player that I feared. He's the guy who always seems to play well against Liverpool. Physical, fast, big, good touch, works dead hard. And if he's out... not that he can't hurt us, but that was your biggest threat.
Absolutely.
So I don't see that it will be as difficult a game for us as it would be with Antonio. And that's just being honest, you know what I mean? I don't need to come across like a tit here or anything. If City lose Aguero, you just think it's going to be an easier game, though. Yeah, and that's kind of the way that I look at Antonio, and he always tears it up against us. I hate playing against him. I hate him. He's a good player.
Let's get a result off you, mate.
3-1 Liverpool, because I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet.
Is Adrian still in goal?
No, Alisson's back.
3-0 then to Liverpool.
What would that have been with Adrian?
3-2.
Fair. Yeah,
Listen, mate, we had him for years. We know that, as you say, he could make a world-class save and then he'll pass 2 in his own net. So, yeah, absolutely. Chris, thank you so much. You can go and see me on Chris's preview over on the Redmen TV and all the build-up to the West Ham game over there. Yeah, so that's it, mate. One thing left for me to say, and I wish I'd never started this now because it pisses me off every time I have to fucking keep on doing it, but come on, you Irons. Right, how do I stop this? Where's the mouse gone?